Good evening, everyone. Sorry, there's a lot of papers to sift through this evening, so thank you for your patience. It is Tuesday, December 17th, 2024. It's 7:05 p.m. This is a regular meeting of the full City Council. We are being recorded on Zoom. We're being recorded by Holyoke Media. And on the city's website, the live stream. This meeting is being translated into Spanish, so thank you all for being here. The clerk will call the roll.
Anderson Burgos. Bartley.
Here.
Devine.
Here.
Ivner.
Here.
Rainey.
Here.
Jourdain.
Here.
McGrath Smith.
Here.
Murphy Rumboletti.
Here.
Ocasio.
Here.
Israel Rivera.
Here.
Jenny Rivera.
Here.
Sullivan.
Here.
Bacon.
Here.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless America.
And the City Council.
Thank you all. So first things first, we do have, there's no public hearings tonight for public comment. We do have someone signed up in person in the council chambers, and I believe possibly someone on Zoom. So first, in council chambers, we have Victor Machado, 6 Arbor Way. Holyoke, come on up. And if you can just state your name and address into the record. I will have a much more efficient clock here in the front in the new year. It's one of my New Year's resolutions. So, but until then, Victor, I will keep time. You will have 2 minutes, and it's my understanding that you'd like the opportunity to say your remarks first in English and then in Spanish. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Is that okay with folks? Do we need a motion for that?
Motion to suspend the rules to provide extra time for translation in both English and Spanish.
Great. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. So, Victor, I will start the clock, and you'll have 2 minutes, and I will let you know when you have 30 seconds left, okay?
Perfect. Thank you. My name is Victor Machado, resident from 6 Arbor Way. I'm coming here because last night I saw the meeting here, and there's something like concerns many residents, especially residents who are homeless. I know many of all, we want the best things for Holyoke on behalf of the residents. Also, we are grateful for your effort. We are grateful for being here, defending the rights of the resident as well. But there's something like concern many residents right now is about the question 6, like many voters decide about to keep Holyoke affordable for everyone. And many people, they are inquiring what is the reason or what is the interest continuing and voting about this question, because already the citizen vote. And also, we know that many things is happening around Holyoke as well, but we should take really important the voters. So the voters decide for you to be here representing them. The voters decide to keep Holyoke affordable.
30 seconds.
So, in Spanish now. Mi nombre es Víctor y vengo a representar a los residentes de Holyoke. Estoy aquí para preguntar por qué en la noche de ayer se celebró una reunión sobre la pregunta 6. Ya los residentes votaron a favor de mantener a Holyoke asequible para todos. pero se continúa con el tema y es un tema que no de acabar y está levantando mucha preocupación en la ciudadanía, en los residentes. Ya los votantes decidieron por qué continuar con la pregunta constantemente. Gracias, que pasen buenas noches.
Thank you.
De nada.
All right, and then on Zoom, we have Spencer Fox Peterson.
Hey there, can you all hear me?
Yes, so I'll start the timer. You know the drill. Say your name and address into the record, please.
No problem. Spencer Fox Peterson, 51 Portland Street. Just calling, calling in to, I saw there's a lot of discussion online regarding, the taxes and the sewage. Won't really get into that. I'm really heartened to see that the community is very invested in trying to understand the policy and why it's important. I wish we would take the same energy and consideration into other policies, such as how we police our neighborhoods. It's proven links that policing doesn't correlate, more money on policing doesn't correlate to safer. This has been proven over and over again. I would like us to look into other things to deal with our problems as opposed to punishing our problems away. Doesn't seem to be working. So I just hope everybody in the community would take that same energy and let's think bigger. That's all I have to say for today. So thank you very much, everybody, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else in the public that is here tonight to speak for public comment? Anyone else online? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilor Devine.
you'll indulge. I'd like to make a proposal, since the mayor is here tonight, and we do have an important meeting about the tax rate and other things, if we could allow the mayor to speak.
So, yes, we can take a motion to suspend the rules.
Suspend the
But
rules and ask the mayor to speak.
perhaps we want to take up some orders to go along with that.
If whatever the desire is, sure.
Councilor Jordan?
Yes, agree with Counselor Devine. I would also, one, allow the mayor to speak, certainly, but also if we could suspend the rules to take up items 51, 52, and 53 now, so that I don't know if the mayor wants to add any comment,
Sure.
but we certainly, this is very important to the city. We should take these items up right away to vote on them now.
Thank you, Counselor. So the motion has been made and seconded to suspend the rules to take items 51, 52, and 53 as a package. And so 51 is filed by Counselor Devine, there be a transfer of $927,778 from general stabilization to capital stabilization. 52 is ordered that the city council subsidize the revenue of the sewer budget from the city capital stabilization fund 8811 in fiscal year 2025 by $927,778, and the remainder funded by sewer receipts. And item 53 is filed by myself and Councilor Devine. Order that the city council vote to set an MRF for fiscal year 25 tax classification. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Under discussion?
I'd like to go on item 51. I think we should vote on them, start one at a time, and I would recommend we go to the first reading on item 51, please.
Second.
So motion's been made and seconded to go to the first reading on item 51
And pass that.
and pass. Do we want to have any discussion?
I think last evening spoke for itself. I think we all know what this is for, and to refresh anyone's memory, this is to balance our budget and allow us to get to the third item.
Okay. Anyone else? Seeing none. Motion was made to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to pass the second reading. The clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you are voting in favor. What? Oh, Counselor Devine was pulled first tonight.
right.
Sorry.
Okay. Devine,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Graney,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
McGrath Smith,
Yes.
Murphy Rumboletti,
Yes.
Ocasio,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Bartley.
No.
11 yeas, 1 nay.
Okay, with that, you've passed it.
Make a motion to go to the first reading on item 52.
52.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded to go to the first reading on item 52. Any other questions or comments?
Nope, move to-
Counselor Bacon?
I would just like to make a quick comment that by voting this through to cure that deficit, we will also be reducing the tax levy rather than adding to the tax levy, as was originally proposed.
Thank you. Anyone else? Counselor Bartley?
Yes, thank you. I voted no on 51, just out of principle after what happened last night. So there's no explanation why we went from 1.1 million and we're not going to change to now we're going to change. I'm glad cooler has prevailed, that we didn't have to take an extra $186,000 from stabilization. Second off, Madam President, I did have the experience to reach out to bond counsel. I don't think anyone else prior to today reached out to bond counsel, which is fairly amazing to me that we're making such a drastic decision and we don't talk to Cinder about this. Now, I did ask the auditor to do that. This is almost unprecedented that no one contacted bond counsel. The mayor, the auditor, no one, treasurer, no one prior to today, prior to my urging. But we contacted bond counsel. She was gracious enough to reply very quickly. And her reply was, her strong preference is not to use stabilization. But she said, all things being equal, she can let it pass this time. She would prefer that we use ARPA funds. There was rhetoric last night saying the opposite, saying the exact opposite. But that's not what bond counsel thinks. You can call Cinder McInerney yourself. You can email her yourself. You can ask the questions yourselves. But when rhetoric comes our way without any supporting documentation, I feel that's a dereliction of duty. So at least we have something on the record. I've shared it with the council president, so the council president has the documentation in her possession. So look at this any way you want. I'm likely going to support this now, but just out of principle, I couldn't support 51. So 52 will go forward with it. But just so you all know, I mean, we all like the mayor, but we heard something completely different from what was said by bond counsel. In other words, bond counsel said, don't like to take it out of stabilization. But in this case, I'll go with it. I prefer ARPA. Now, something totally different yesterday. So I hope that got through. Whether you believe me or not doesn't matter. But you can contact Cinder, and hopefully next time before we do these things, the administration will contact bond counsel, and we can have a thoughtful process about it. Because we heard about our rating agencies. We heard about that, didn't we, last night? Do it from stabilization. Well, bond counsel is the one that helps us with the rating agencies. Bond counsel doesn't want it from stabilization, but we'll let it pass. I hope I'm not being mean at this point. I know we all get our feathers up when we get a mean Councilor Bartley or mean whatever. I'm stating facts. So I'll leave it there. Madam President, thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to pass second reading?
Second.
We need just real quick. We need to vote on. We need to still vote on first reading.
Okay.
Yes.
So motion to pass first reading.
Thank you.
Motion was made to pass on the motion. First reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion to pass the second reading?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to pass the second reading, and the clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting in favor of item 52.
Divine,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Greenie,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
McGrath Smith,
Yes.
Murphy Rumboletti,
Yes.
Ocasio,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Bartley,
Yes.
unanimous vote.
Thank you. With that, you've passed that.
Madam President.
Yes.
On is to item number 53, the setting of the MRF.
Yep. So item 53, I
I had a motion to
Yep.
allow the mayor to speak.
So, motion's been made and
Seconded.
seconded to suspend the rules to allow the mayor to speak, and go for it.
Thank you so much, counselors, for allowing me to speak. I just wanted to take a moment to set the table a little bit here before you proceed forward. And also just some clarifying points because, there were some points made about me not reaching out to bond counsel specifically because I didn't have to. What I read in that communication that Councilor Bartley is referring to, bond counsel also said that the preference is to set an appropriate tax rate, sewer rate. That's the preference. It's in there, it's in the communication, but I didn't hear anything about that. What I heard was we have a mayor who doesn't communicate with bond counsel and come forward with appropriate strategies. We don't want to use stabilization funds to cure deficits. The sewer should be self-sustained and curing itself, but obviously that's been a long 2-3 decade debate, and that continues, and everyone's trying to figure that out, and I respect that. What was proposed was transferring interest earned in that stabilization account to cure the deficit. Now, again, the preference is absolutely, and bond counsel's right. I didn't ask her because I already know these answers. I already know this. We don't want to touch stabilization to cure any deficits, and if we can preserve interest earned, absolutely. But from what I heard from this body, we don't want to set the sewer rate.
Madam President,
we don't want.
Madam President, just a
Excuse
point of-
me,
just-
excuse
just a
me.
point of order.
Hold on,
Order?
so,
I can raise a point of order at any time.
sure,
gonna raise a point of
as,
order. Okay,
as long as, Counselor,
Well, I'm getting grief from my right. I get to raise a point of order. That's Robert's rules.
of course, and I get to recognize it.
Yes, you do.
Okay, so if you could give me a second to actually recognize it.
Please.
Okay. Counselor Bartley, your point of order?
Thank you. Point of order is, we've already taken a vote on this. So if the mayor wants to attack me, fine.
I don't think anyone's, I think.
Oh, no, I didn't call anybody by name, but the mayor's using my name. Our rules say we don't do that.
Counselor,
Do I not get to make my point of order without being interrupted? This will be quick. So the mayor wants to attack me. That's fine. That's fine. But it's for something we already voted on. Let's move on.
It's in my.
Thank you.
guys, so one at a time is actually our rules here, and I'm actually, I hate to remind you again, but I'm the one who's supposed to enforce the rules. And I actually get interrupted quite a bit, so I can appreciate your frustration. That's literally what happens to me every single meeting with you guys. So, with that being said, we're not doing a back and forth. We're not doing that. We're giving the mayor the opportunity to address us this evening, as we all just voted on. The mayor is addressing, I think that the mayor has the opportunity, just as you did, to have this dialogue. We can disagree, and we can also hear from each other, and that's what we're doing tonight. So, Mayor, if you want to keep going, and if we could just try to make this as efficient as possible.
Yeah, just so it's clear, in my reporting here in my paper, addressing the sewer deficits is exactly what I'm
Absolutely.
doing. I didn't, Counselor, I'm sorry, it wasn't meant to attack you in any way at all. But instead, just to clarify that we don't want to stabilization to cure deficits. What we did was, what we also didn't want to do was raise and appropriate. That's what we did last year to cure the deficit. There was strong interest from this council not to put the burden on taxpayers. I fully agree. There's unanimous support there. And so the path that was introduced, which there's a fourth path that you guys just voted on today and supported, was to take interest earned out of that stabilization. I think the preference is not to touch at any moment what's in there, but obviously we wanted to stay away from adding it through taxation, putting the burden on taxpayers. So instead, this was a path that was presented, which was, it sounds like to me, was supported tonight. But yes, Cinder did absolutely say, if the real preference is to vote on an appropriate sewer rate, and certainly we haven't gotten there yet. For the first time in years, in front of you, you're going to vote on a shift. We're going to see some favorable shifts that's going to result in a significant reduction in the rates for both residential and commercial properties. However, as we talked about last night, there is an expected average single-family home tax bill that will increase. The increase is primarily driven by, and we talked about this during budget time when we set the budget for fiscal year 25, by residential property values coupled with higher costs in insurance. School costs went up dramatically, transportation costs went up dramatically, as well as some other contractual obligations. Additionally, Holyoke's longstanding commitment to fully funding the retirement system by 2032 requires allocating approximately $8 million annually beyond the standard retirement budget, which I think there's some opportunity there we can talk about for the 26 budget. The council's decision to set the tax rate shift, obviously, as we're all aware, is critical. We do this every year. This year, my recommendation, adopting shift factor 1.7500. This adjustment is going to significantly reduce both residential, bringing it down below the $18, and commercial rates, bringing it down below, finally, the $40 mark, while keeping the average single-family tax bill increase to a manageable level. Now, despite perspectives that we've heard last night and some just a few minutes ago, understand that I hope you'll agree that together, it's not just the mayor in my office, nor do I ever want to take credit for anything that we do successfully here in the city. I always give credit to this council together that I'm pleased to highlight the following municipal finance accomplishments. No use of free cash or reserves. We're not relying on any of these free cash or reserves to reduce the levy amount. We have a balanced budget without ARPA dollars. I have no interest to use ARPA dollars to reduce the levy. We want to get away from any dependency on that. This year's budget has no dependence on that. And then obviously we continue to maintain conservative revenue estimates by budgeting conservatively and collecting more local receipts than anticipated. We strengthen our free cash potential, and this will provide us with the greater flexibility to address any shortfalls and continue to invest in critical capital needs in the near future. So in closing, setting the tax rate shift is among the most challenging decision this council has to face every single year, and I'm confident with your thoughtful deliberation and commitment, we're going to continue to make the incremental progress toward fiscally sound, prosperous future for our community. Thank you so much, Madam President and Council, for your dedication and service, and I look forward to what I hope to be a continued collaboration. And Councilor Bartley, there was no attack there. I'm sorry if you thought otherwise, but the public is watching, so I'm okay.
Thank you all. All right, so I've got some folks in the queue. And before we get into discussion, for those who are tuning in at home, just to give a brief overview of what actually happens this evening. I watched the council meeting from last year where we voted on the tax rate. Joe McGivern was running it. And he gave a great overview. And so for those of you who are at home, the tax classification, it allows communities in Massachusetts to shift a single tax rate from residential to commercial, which also includes commercial industrial property and personal property. This shift is a majority vote tonight, so 7 votes of the council. The way that we do this, you all have the options presented before you by the mayor and the auditor. Thank you to our auditor, Tanya, for being here again this evening. I did want to clarify one thing, that last night there was some debate about whether or not we could have voted on this last night, and our assessor confirmed what our auditor and myself were trying to advocate for, that we could vote on shift factors. So hopefully, even though we're voting tonight, hopefully we can get everything out in time. I just want you all to know in full transparency what is communicated to me oftentimes is the sense of urgency. So I'm just really hoping that all of our tax bills are going to get out on time. But with that being said, we're going to, tonight, if we need to, we will take 3 amendments, if there are 3 amendments, for the purposing of voting tonight. Everyone use the first column, SIF shift. It sounds like we might all be on, have done our homework before this. But once there are 3 amendments, if there are, we'll take votes, going with the last amendment first, working backwards until we vote on all 3, if that's the case. So with that, I'll open up for discussion to all of you. I have Councilor Graney and then Councilor Jordan.
Just quickly, a quick question to the mayor. Is the retirement allocation still ahead of what we're expecting?
We're currently at 81%. Councilor, remind me, 81%, right? We're currently at 81%. We're doing very well. One of the things that I want to look into, actually we should all probably look into, is, where are we comparatively to other communities on that schedule, and whether or not we are indeed ahead, and see if there's any flexibility there to take a pause or a break so that we can offer some financial relief to taxpayers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Jordan.
Yeah, I'd like to make a proposal.
Yep.
I would like to propose the 175 rate,
Second.
which is a minimum residential factor of 0.7926.
Second?
Okay. So the motion has been made and seconded to propose the 1.7500, which would be $17.46 for the residential and $38.54 for the commercial. Are there any other? Counselor Sullivan?
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'd like to propose a shift of 1.747. The difference between that and the other ones is it'd be a 1 cent more for the residential, but it'd be a 7-cent reduction for commercial.
Okay. 1.747, which would be, sorry,
1747 for residential and 3847 for commercial.
38.47 for commercial, 17.47 for residential. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Is there another? Okay, so we have 2.
Can I just make a comment?
Absolutely, under discussion, Councilor Bacon.
Thank you. I would just like to note that the 1.75 shift is the lowest shift that we can do for residential, as we've been advised by our financial staff here in the city, just for the public. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, I'll suggest one, just
Okay.
keep the tradition of 3. I'll suggest 1.749.
1.749.
Second.
And motion's been made and seconded for 1.749, which would be $17.46 residential and $38.52 commercial.
Under discussion?
Under discussion, Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, so I heard Councilor Sullivan's argument, and I certainly support Councilor Jordan's completely, but I mean, it keeps it at 17.46, and then it actually lowers the commercial by a little bit. So it seems like it's more of a winner on both ends of the spectrum, but I think any one of these three are gonna work, so. But I'm gonna support the one that I nominated, but if it gets defeated, I certainly support Kevin's suggestion.
Okay.
Mayor's, thank you.
All right, so with that, since we do have a clerk tonight, I will have the clerk call the roll.
Oh, can we have a little bit of discussion, though?
Yes, I'm sorry, is there more discussion? I thought, go ahead, Counselor Jordan.
Yes,
I'm sorry, I didn't know you had your hand up.
Yes,
My
yes.
apologies.
This item we actually haven't discussed yet. We talked at some length about the transfers, but now we get to actually talk about the shift. A couple things I want to point out. One is, and I'll save this one for last, is tax burden, but the other two I'd like to talk to about is urgency and process. The reason that we have this late hour urgency is because we are actually, as a government here, collectively, not following good process. How this city has run, and for the newer members who haven't seen how things run when they're actually working on an efficient way, is that typically we would complete the budget in June, and we would all vote. We would get the budget in early May, sometimes late April, but we would vote and approve the budget in June. Then we would have the summer recess. We would come back in September. We would be provided with our free cash certification. And then in October, we would actually vote on tax classification. When this city was functioning correctly, when that was functioning correctly, that's how the process would work, timing-wise. For somehow, some way, over the last recent number of years, we're at a point where we're very discombobulated. I don't know if they need to have some more staff meetings or resources or what, but the assessor's office, I'll give them credit, they actually did a lot of work to be able to have the tax classification hearing back on November 6th. Ideally, though, that would have even occurred a month earlier. But I know, in fairness to the assessor's office, it was a reval year this year. So that happens every 5 years. So as a result, for it to be the first week of November is actually a credit to them. Now, unfortunately, we have no free cash still certified for this year, right? And that's because we have a great number of accounts that are unreconciled, and we have no free cash to even put on the tax rate. All of our, I should say, of our neighboring communities have free cash to put on the tax rate. That is, free cash, by the way, isn't free money. It's money left over from the prior fiscal year. So we don't have that as an option. So now we get to the point where it's time to set the levy, and these decisions need to be made sooner. This council should have been able to vote on this a month ago, quite frankly, because we need administration to get us the levy sooner. So what it does is we get to late December, and there's all this talk about, we got to get the bills out, That's not on the city council. We get a proposal when we get a proposal, and we take a vote when we take a vote, and the president schedules it as soon as we can, just so people understand. This is very late. So we need the levy set, and then we come in. And let me explain why levy set. First of all, why I was very concerned, and I want to explain process now. I'm going to turn discussion from urgency to process. Process is, for all counselors, there's what the law allows, and then there's what you should do. Okay, let me point these out. When you look at the statute, in order to pass and certify our tax rate, two things need to occur. One is the assessors are required to have a public hearing on tax classification. Point number two, this council needs to adopt a shift. For us, the only thing that you have as a power as a counselor until they set that levy, you should not set the shift until they give you a levy. Why? Because you would be voting without actual numbers here. You would not even know what rates would have the impact of your shift. Tonight, we just announced that 175 is going to be 1746 residential, 3854 commercial. If, say, a month ago, we just passed the shift, we don't know that would be the final rates. You would be voting blind. That's why the council's never done that. It's why I was trying to explain that is an unheard of process here. And oh, by the way, as counselors, you should not only should you know what the impact of the vote is that you're putting on your residents, point number two is you should want to know what the levy is before you actually vote. And the only way to hold administration accountable, whether it's good or bad, you should always want to know what that levy is, because if you just set classification, they could turn around and set the levy at whatever they want, okay? And they could go all the way up to the levy limit. For example, he could have said, you know what, you set the classification last night, I'm not bringing in that transfer for 927. They could have done that. And then they could have just said it all goes to the tax levy, to the levy limit, that 67.8. And people need to understand the current levy is 63 million. We're going up by tonight's vote, $3.8 million. That is unheard of. We have never had an increase this large. And to add another million on top of that is insane, unheard of type increase. That is vastly more than what the tax override would have been for the schools, which I think was like around 3 something. I don't even think it's as much as the 3.8 we're voting in here. And we already know how that all turned out, right? The public said 65%. Hell no, right? And of course, we know a month ago they said 66% said hell no to 0.5% on CPA. So here tonight, we're voting on 6.2%. So I would encourage counselors never to vote on the shift until you're provided with the levy, because otherwise you lose all leverage to influence the process and do that. Okay, so that's the process argument. Now on burden, this is a massive increase. None of us are happy about it. It does start back at the budget. You know, we had very few cuts. I really think this council has to tighten the belt here in the future. This city did a 5% tax rate increase last year. It's now going to do, even with this 927, this is going to be a 6.2% increase. Yeah, the rate's going down, but everyone's value's going up 16%. So when you put those two together with the rate reduction, but the massive value increase, that's a 6.2% tax bill increase. And by the way, we can't blame homes going up as the reason your bills are going up, because if you didn't increase the levy, the rate would come down 16% and the value would go up 16%, and it would be zero is the neutral, right? It's all neutral. But then when we increase the amount that's taxed, the net of these is 6.2% more on the folks, on the people we represent. This hurts. I think all of us are sympathetic to that. I wish these numbers could be a hell of a lot less. What we need to get to as a community, in my opinion, and I've emphasized this to the mayor, we've got to get to the point where we can increase taxes 2.5%, 3% a year. The residents expect us, they get it, like things go up. There's more costs. People deserve pay raises, you know. Things cost more money every year. Like they get that. Like we all see that. But it can't be 5% and 6% and 7% increases every year. They can't afford that. And so we have to do better as a government collectively, all of us, the 13 of us and the mayor, on this issue, because this is not sustainable long term. So this is going to hurt people, and that's where the pain comes in. Why I had filed item 54, which is discussing about ARPA, and I hope this whole council will embrace this. I really feel that the ARPA 2 million, some of it, the mayor could still, after we take this shift, you know, this is what it is. But if he decides, and he has, God bless him, he has the exclusive authority over ARPA. He can do whatever he wants with the $2 million. We have, this Congress sets these rules. But we're saying respectfully, look at this. Can we soften this blow so that instead of going up 4 million this year, could we go up maybe 2 million this year and 2 million next year? So it's a more reasonable increase on people. That's what we got to do. And that's where I think people understand that they can budget for that. And it hurts. But, you know, when we say the average home is going up $300 and something a year, you know, that is a lot of money to people. Another $25 a month. And oh, by the way, because they got an estimated bill for the first 2 quarters, for the next 6 months, they got to pay double that, right? To make up for the last 6 months, because it's based on a fiscal year. So the average home is going to pay another $50 a month to City Hall. And for a lot of people, they don't have $50 a month. And so, again, these are the folks we represent. It's the deck of cards we have. It's a poor community. It is what it is. I wish, if we had the luxury of representing Long Meadow, they probably wouldn't care. But our people do care. So I'm voting for this tonight. It's the best we can do. I'm going to vote for this in the spirit of adopting item number 54, which says, Mayor, consider some more tax relief, even if you could do $500,000. But at a minimum, if we're not going to do any tax relief, can we at least spend the money on city projects, on city capital projects? God bless, we need more affordable housing and all these other wonderful things. Holyoke cannot be subsidizing that with the $2 million. Our residents need affordable housing. And you know what affordable housing means? I can't afford your $50 extra every month. You want to make my housing a little more affordable? I have seniors and people who are the working poor who are saying in this community, your $50 a month, that hurts. Keep my house affordable. I don't have an extra $50 a month on top of my drug prices and my groceries and all the other things they're getting hit with. We had a whole national conversation about inflation this year. That's real to people. So I would say we should adopt this 175. It's the best we can do, and we take it from there. Hopefully item 54 will pass. The mayor will consider it. Use the money for sewer projects or water projects or sidewalks and the other things that we need for this community. We cannot give this money away to third parties, no matter how noble they want to put in apartments. We need the private sector to do that. We can't be underwriting that. The residents don't have it. They need those monies. So anyways, I'll stop there. I thank you all for your attention, and I hope 175 is adopted.
Thank you. Councillor Bartley, then Councillor Graney, then Councillor Givner.
Thank you, Madam President. So I'm just going to elaborate on something the mayor said last night, and I was kind of happy to hear about it. I did follow up with Mike Moriarty today relative to the neighborhood improvement program, and $250,000 to $500,000 would be tremendous. There's a long list, and if we can use ARPA funds for that, I think that would be a tremendous winner. The rest of it, housing starts, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see how it rolls. But Mike Moriarty is going to follow up with the mayor relative to that. He was happy about that. One last thing, just to follow up on something Kevin just said. Certainly, we all remember what happened in June. We almost took an unprecedented step of not even reviewing the budget. That was a 7-6 vote, which is fairly unusual. But we did review it, and we did our best. I would just point out that the reason some of us want to make some cuts, Councilor Leahy was always wanting to make cuts to make the department heads come back mid-year, explain what's going on. Not to be punitive or not to embarrass the executive office, just to justify, we know the money's there, just to justify this additional expense. Councilor Leahy was well known for doing that. I'd ask you to consider that next year. Next June. The second thing that we see in June is quite often the financial transfers, the late financial transfers. Again, if there's a little bit of patience and understanding from this council, you're not being punitive, you're not being obstructionist, you're not being disrespectful, because that money goes where? It's in the free cash that Kevin just discussed. And if you have free cash, which every other municipality has certified by now, and they use it to offset the taxes, Holyoke doesn't, we can't use free cash because we don't have it certified by the Department of Revenue for the reasons Kevin just explained, and Tanya would be happily explain it to us at another time, or to anybody individually if that's something that you so desire. And I hope you do. I hope you make an appointment to see Tanya. She's a wealth of information. So just consider those thoughts when we come back around to this in June, and we'll see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Graney.
Yeah, just quickly, I'm speaking for a lot of people out there who are single-family homes, triple family homes.
This is a killer. This is a very difficult decision that has to be made. The gun is to our head. We have to do it. But to put it in perspective, a senior who is on Social Security gets a cost of living every year. That cost of living amounts to $30. That's not even a tank of gas. And what this increase is going to do, it's just going to make them. What it will do, it will have seniors make more decisions. Either they hang on to their homes, they sell their homes, they get their medication, or they get their food. Those are life decisions that people have to make by what we do here. And it's very difficult for me as a senior who lives by the senior rules to have to vote on this, but I will because it's the best we can do. And I apologize to our seniors out there that we have to do this.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Gibner.
I just had a question to Tanya, if that information is available. I'm curious as to, because I've always thought, like, if we did have an incremental tax increase, then it would lessen the burden on everyone in the city, and that makes a lot of sense. But I don't know really the history of our tax increases. I have seen some pretty low numbers when I've looked up things at like 1% increase, and things well below like 2.5 that might have been incremental over the years and may have helped us ease the burden. So I'm curious, Tanya, if you have like an average over the last 30 years of the annual residential tax increase.
Make a motion to suspend the rules and have the auditor answer the question if she may.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So that information is available, maybe not 30 years, maybe 15, but I can get that together for you and send it so you can see like what's been going on.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Counselor Gibner? No. Anyone else? Oh, sorry, Counselor Bacon.
Thank you. Again, through the president to our auditor, if I may.
Sure.
I hadn't noticed this, but I imagine it's a rounding issue. So it looks like the rate for residential would be exactly the same, whether we go for the 1.75 rate or the 1.7490 rate. So is that accurate as it's showing on the sheet?
It is. That comes off of a program that the assessor uses, so it probably is the rounding. Probably doesn't go out far enough.
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Jordan?
Yeah, just one technical point too is there'll always be a little bit of variance from what you're voting here till the final ones that are published. You'll notice it, and that's when that rounding factor comes in. It could go, it's almost always slightly lower, almost always, but it could go down a couple pennies, usually on each, just so you're aware. So that's where that rounding factor could be a point, just so you're aware of that when you see the final published number.
Okay. Anyone else? Counselor Rivera.
Yeah, I think after listening to a lot of the stuff, one of the things for me, like, I'm thinking about it as like, and I agree with the residential rate and all the stuff that's put forward, either one. I want to keep the taxes as low as we can for the residents in the community, especially considering all the inflation and all the stuff that's happening. But I just, if we're paying things off with like one-off incomes, right? Are we not creating a bubble that later on in the future that we'll have to deal with? I think that's the only concern that I have, right? So like, if we take ARPA funds to cover some of it now, then next year we have to come up with what we didn't pay for now, plus whatever inflation rate is there too at that time on top. So it's not only just the 2, plus maybe another 3 on top of that 2. And then the next time it continues, before you know it, we're gonna be behind significantly at a point where we might not ever dig ourselves out of the situation. So I just say that because it feels like when you have a credit card, right, and you're taking one credit card to pay another credit card, and then take another credit card to pay another credit card, you're not really solving the issue. You're just accumulating more debt in the long term. You're not facing it now. You won't face it next year. The people that Mr. Graney are talking about might not face it in their terms, right? But my kids might face it right? Later on, 15 to 20 years down the road. That's the only thing that's kind of puzzling me right now in the moment. I'll vote for the 175 or the 177, but what is the plan for 15 to 20 years? Because no one's really talking about that piece to me. Thank you.
Thank you. I have Counselor Bacon and then Counselor Graney.
So I just would like to clarify that part of what we're talking about tonight is because of timing issues. It was stated earlier in the meeting that we would normally have our free cash certified by now. If we had it certified, we would be talking about balancing the budget with tax monies that have already been paid. Unfortunately, we don't have that calculation available, and I will be offering an order in the future that once our free cash is certified, I'm hoping that we will replenish the stabilization fund, because I'm no fan of taking money out of that, but our hands are kind of tied because we don't know what our free cash will be yet. But once we do, then within this reasonable time frame of our fiscal year, we can potentially cure certain things and not push them down the road for a number of years.
Mary, you had your
Thank
hand
you.
up. Did you want? And then I'd love for us to end the discussion after this.
Just on the subject of free cash, and it's in our financial management policies manual, free cash, the strategy is to use free cash for one-time expenses. So if it's a capital, one-time related expense, or investments into our reserve or stabilization accounts, which highlight in our policies manual, when free cash is certified, how much percentage-wise we want to invest those dollars into those accounts. As long as I'm here, I would never bring forward a plan to use free cash to subsidize operations or lower the tax rate or anything. It's not a best practice. Can communities do it? Absolutely, just like we can use ARPA to, and other alternative revenue sources. It's just not it's not the best practice that we want to get in the habit of doing. Just putting that note out there.
Thank you. I feel like everyone has raised their hand and chimed in, and I'm not seeing any other. Yeah, Councilor Greeny.
Just quickly, to use the credit card analogies, a lot of people out there are using their credit cards just to buy groceries and drugs. So their credit card debt has been accruing over the last 2 or 3 years. So that's a situation and another problem for seniors. But I think we've had enough discussion on this. We know what we've got to do, so why don't we move on and just do it?
All right. Just wanted to make sure everyone had a chance to weigh in. But we're going to start with the last proposed motion. So that was for 1.749, and that represents 1.749. No, sorry.
Yeah, that was.
Second from the bottom.
There we go. I can't read my own handwriting. That is $17.46 on the residential and $38.52 on the commercial. If you vote yes, you're voting for this rate. The clerk will call the roll.
Devine,
No.
Givner,
Yes.
Graney,
No.
Jordan,
No.
McGrath Smith,
No.
Murphy Rumboletti,
No.
Ocasio,
No.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
No.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Bartley.
Yes.
Five yeas, 7 nays.
Okay, so we need 7
Yeas.
yays.
Well, number 2.
So number 2 is 1.747, which is $17.47 residential and $38.47 commercial.
So this is the higher one on residential of the.
Yes.
My opinion.
Thank you.
The clerk will
Devine?
call the roll.
No.
Givner,
Yes.
Graney,
No.
Jordan,
No.
McGrath Smith,
No.
Murphy Ramboletti,
No.
Casio,
No.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
No.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Bacon,
No.
Bartley.
Yes.
4 yeas, 8 nays.
Okay. And then the third amendment is 1.75, and that is $17.46 residential, $38.54 commercial. The clerk will call the roll.
Devine,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Graney,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
McGrath Smith,
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Yes.
Ocasio,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Bartley.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Okay, with that, you have voted for the 1.75 rate shift. Thank you.
Could
Madam
we
President,
suspend the rules, Madam President, and take up late file 54?
Second, I was gonna say that.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded to suspend the rules and take up item 54 out of order, which is filed by Councilor Jordan and Bacon. Order that the mayor please use the remaining $2 million in ARPA funds for tax relief or city-sponsored capital projects. Our city cannot afford to be giving away our precious resources to third-party projects and need every dollar to balance our own budget and not add $1 in extra costs onto our residents who are already struggling to make ends meet.
I would ask that we receive and adopt this and send it to the mayor and
Second.
have him consider it. It'll be his decision ultimately, though.
Second?
Receive, adopt, and send to the mayor. Motion's been made and seconded. Under discussion, Councilor Bartley?
Yeah, I'm not gonna vote for this, only because of what I said a little bit earlier. So I just as soon have a roll call on it, just so I can be on the record as being a no. And I'm only a no, only because I wanna support the NIP program. And this order doesn't contemplate that.
Okay. Councilor Bacon?
Thank you. The order contemplates that is under the total discretion of the mayor, and so any portion of the 2 million certainly would be at his discretion, and it's not intended to be an all or nothing ask, but simply a consideration given the economic times in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Rivera?
I guess I'll say that I'm not gonna support this for some of the reasons that I mentioned about the bubble that I kind of spoken about in the last time that I spoke. I'm kind of concerned for the long term if we continue to do this type of practice financially.
Thank you. Councilor Jordan?
Yeah, well, if Councilor Rivera actually makes a good point about our paying our own bills. This is saying, pay your bills, our bills. We're in no position to be giving any of this 2 million away to anybody. And that's what this says, is that we're gonna use this to spend on city bills. We're in no position to give 10 cents away to anybody at this point. So all I'm saying is whether it's balance something, pay for something that we have to pay for, maybe ideally use some for tax relief, that would be nice. He says he's not going to do that. Well, that's his choice. But to give it away, we're in no position to do that. So that's the spirit of this, and hopefully he'll consider it, or at least some portion of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone? Councilor Greeny?
Yeah, this is totally at the discretion of the mayor and his goodwill. So let's just move the question and vote on it.
Second.
We've got a long meeting tonight.
Sounds
Let's do
good
it.
to me.
Good point.
So the motion's been made and seconded to receive and send to the mayor, and we've been asked to do a roll call vote, so the clerk will call the roll.
I think we need one more for a roll call, just ask for.
What's that?
Roll call.
Thank you, okay, I think we need 3.
Okay.
Thank you.
Madam President, could you
Yeah.
add my name to this order as well?
Add your name to the order?
Sure.
Okay.
You can add my name to the order too.
All right.
Stick
Stick mine in there too.
Okay. All right, so the clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting to receive and send to the mayor.
Devine,
Yes.
Givner,
No.
Greenie,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
McGrath Smith,
No.
Murphy Ramboletti,
No.
Pasio,
Yes. Yes.
Israel Rivera,
No.
Jenny Rivera,
No.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Bartley.
No.
6 yeas, 6 nays.
No vote.
Okay, so it's defeated.
Okay, so it's defeated.
So we're on record of giving our money away. Great. All right, perfect.
Well, I'm
We don't really need to do that. That was kind of out of order. Wasn't it? I mean, if honestly, so hold on. I was going to wait until later or something, but like, I have no more patience for the side conversation. Please hold on. I see you and I will recognize you, but I have something to say. I have no more patience for side conversations or for, if I didn't call on you, then you shouldn't be talking. And honestly, like, the public is watching us, and I know that we've all seen it, and I get emails and you get emails, and I'm doing the best I can as the president. But if you are going to have a side conversation, I will call you up by name. If you guys aren't going to talk unless I've called on you, I will recognize that. I'm going to do it across the board. I'm not picking favorites. My job up here as the council president is to maintain decorum and order in our meeting. It has nothing to do with what side of whatever you all are on. I don't care. It is so distracting. If someone else is talking, if someone else has the floor and someone's talking, don't talk. If you have something, even if you're having a side conversation saying, I really support what you just did, don't do it. Send a text message. I don't care. It's above my pay grade to monitor the text messages. So it's my job to maintain order. I didn't even want to have to address this, but after last night and the disrespect that you all showed me as the president, I'm tired of it. I'm really, really, really tired of it. I don't get paid enough for this. This is the reality. Please, please treat each other with respect and speak one at a time. It is in our rules. Thank you so much. With that, Councilor Greenie, I saw your hand up.
Motion to reconsider.
Is there a second?
Second.
Well, yes.
Under discussion, Councilor Bartley.
Well, it's his motion, so do you want to go
I
first?
seconded it.
Oh, I just wanted to, I was going to say reconsider, wow, spit it out, Dave. Reconsider our action for the purposes of tabling so we can discuss this down the road. So that's all I wanted.
Okay. So, is that an amendment to the motion?
No, that's kind of like my hint as to why I want to reconsider. Then I'll make a motion.
Okay, all right. So there's other discussion. Councilor Jordan.
I don't know if some of the 6 that voted no want to amend it to say something else, but I am at a loss. Tabling does nothing. That kills it. This decision has to be made by the end of the year. We have no more meetings between now and the end of the year. So if there's any message to be tabled, then that's pointless. Either we should just kill it, or somebody of the 6 that voted no should make a suggested amendment. If you want to, and the NIP program or whatever. I don't know I'll let people speak for themselves as to why they voted no.
I mean, all right. Well, do folks want to? I think folks are allowed to vote however they want to vote when that decision happens. And now we have the opportunity to reconsider a vote. Right. So if folks want to weigh in.
Well, just on the motion, reconsider then.
Yeah, second.
On the motion.
On the motion, made and seconded to reconsider. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, and then I'd like to make an offer of friendly amendment that we add the neighborhood improvement program to be one of the things considered. If I could just get a second on that, I'll give my explanation in 2 seconds.
Second, on Councilor Bartley.
There's a list of over 200 private homes that Mr. Moriarty has, I think we understand the neighborhood program. I think all of us, we don't have to explain that, right? It's to give $10,000 and try to help out with stuff that really, leaking roofs and toilets and all this stuff, to help our homeowners, to help our neighbors. That's what the NIP program does. It helps neighbors. It's only 10 grand, and it's a winner. So I would just like to add that as one of the things to consider.
I second the motion to amend the resolution to say, or the neighborhood improvement program.
Motion's been made and seconded to amend the resolution to include the neighborhood improvement program. Under discussion, I have Counselor Givner and then Counselor Vacan.
Thank you, Madam President. I just voted no because the NAP program was what was in mind, along with other housing projects, which I think is a good idea. And quite frankly, the mayor has the discretion anyway, so I just felt like this order doesn't really do anything. I think we have discussions, and I am under the impression that the mayor knows how we feel about how this money should be spent, but we don't have a whole lot of control over it. So I just thought this was I just don't think this order is necessary because he pretty much he has the discretion to use it for funding for projects in the city. So thank you.
Thank you. I have Counselor Vacan.
I'm wanting to offer another amendment once we act on this amendment, unless I can do it alongside. I don't want to change the one on the floor, so I'll wait till we act on this one.
Okay.
And then I'd like to offer an amendment.
Okay. Counselor Rivera.
So my understanding is that we're requesting the mayor to hopefully listen to us and use listen to our recommendation with regards to how the money should be spent, right?
Exactly.
I'd be cool if we amended it and we took out the reference around paying the tax dollars. Anything else, I'm cool with it, but just the reference around paying the tax dollars around it, because again, I'm going to reiterate back to what I'm saying around the spending. And yes, it is paying our bills, but it's paying our bills with a credit card for now. And that's not really fixing the problem. Yes, it's putting a Band-Aid for now, but I ran on trying to fix the problem, not continue to put Band-Aids on. And I won't be here for 15 years putting Band-Aids. So that's why I'll continue to vote no unless we amend that specific piece of the language. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Jordan, and then Counselor Devine.
Well, first of all, it's kind of interesting to listen to the mayor say, I don't want to use any of the ARPA money to reduce the tax levy, when he's already done $6.9 million on the tax levy. The legal limit is $10 million. So you're already you're $6.9 million short of the party. Where was that alleged principal stand last year, right? You can't have it both ways, all right? ARPA funds were used for revenue recapture the current fiscal year for fiscal year 24 and for fiscal, not for fiscal 25, but for fiscal 24 and 23 and 22 and 21, and he was mayor for at least two of them. So this has been there, done that, right? Terry Murphy did it, he did it. So now all of a sudden, this is taboo to use money to protect taxpayers? Please. Point number 2 is neighborhood improvement plan. Great. Let's add that in if you can. And I'm not saying use all of it for the taxes. I think we do for the 3. And as far as the point goes that why do we do resolutions? Because it's the council's stand on this particular issue, which is directly impacting our constituents. It's not like I'm in here, please take a stand against, nuclear weapons or something. I'm not necessarily a big fan of those kind of resolutions because one, nobody in the world cares what we think about, Vladimir Putin doesn't care what Kevin Jourdain thinks about nuclear weapons. But taxpayers that live on Maple Street do care about where their ARPA funds are going, and those are the folks I represent. And they would like to see these monies preserved as much as possible to keep their bills down. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got Counselor Devine, Counselor McGrath-Smith, Counselor Sullivan, and then the mayor had his hand up. And I just want to remind everyone, I would love to weigh in after all of you have the chance to talk, since it's kind of been invited. So anyway, I've got Counselor Devine.
I only have a question. The ARPA monies have to be spent by the end of the year? Is that the question? Is that true?
No, they
No.
have to be
Okay.
But
allocated.
we have to tell them how we're gonna
No,
spend
no,
it
no.
by the
That's
end.
all I want to know.
Yep.
That's all I want to know. Thank you.
Okay, then I have Counselor Sullivan and Counselor McGrath-Smith.
So I would just remind everybody that the mayor also has the ultimate decision on CDBG funds.
Yeah.
Yet we all weigh in that. We go through committee and we make a recommendation to express the will of the body to the mayor, so he has that to take into consideration. To sit here and not express what we'd like to see done is a dereliction of duty.
Okay, thank you. Counselor McGrath-Smith.
The reason why I voted no and will continue to for this resolution is that it doesn't create enough space for me. I would be more than fine if the mayor wanted to use a portion of the ARPA fundings for some soft offsets this year. But I don't believe that it should go all to tax relief or to city-sponsored capital projects. There may be very meaningful projects that are non-city sponsored that need to occur. And also, from my understanding, the vast majority of the money that's remaining is interest, and as a result, it is not something that needs to be spent on any specific timeline. And so we don't have to decide right now or within the next 2 weeks how that money is spent. And I don't want us to rush and expend funding now that there may be a very real need for later.
Okay. Anyone else?
On the amendment.
For
And the
what
necessary
it's worth,
Let
thank
the
you.
president speak.
Is there a second? For what it's worth, I voted no. I'll change my vote so that you all can send this message to the mayor, who is literally sitting right in front of us and can hear us and has heard us. I can also pick up the phone and call the mayor, and I have. And at the end of the day, that's all I can do. So I didn't do this because if I wanted to oversee ARPA, I would have run for mayor. I believe in the legislative branch. We are here to legislate, and so I'm not the type to try and micromanage what happens on the day-to-day executive level. If I wanted to make those decisions, I would have taken those steps to do so. So that's personally why I didn't vote for it. But since it seems very important to everyone that this message gets delivered to the mayor officially by the council, I will be changing my vote. So if there's no one else, then can we vote? Mayor, do you want to add anything? And please make it brief.
Yeah,
for the love
and
of
whether
God.
it passes or not, I got the message loud and clear. I'm listening, and we'll take anything and all into advisement and consideration. But just so you're aware, previous ARPA dollars have been used, but in the spirit of ARPA revenue replacement dollars. And so earlier on, when COVID was going on, we lost a lot of revenue, and it's particularly around our excise tax related revenue, meals tax, gas tax, hotel tax, and those other taxes. And so the ARPA revenue replacement was strategically used to fill those gaps as the economy got a little better. And as the economy got a little better and we got back on our feet, we were able to wean off the need to continue to use that. And so that was the intent and purpose, just to clarify that. Also, there will be a process. We do have a management plan and how we execute and commit ARPA dollars. And so uncommitted dollars, the same process we've undergone in the past. And I spoke to Alicia already and I said, hey, look, the counselors really need an update on what's going on and where we are. So it helps kind of eliminate a lot of the confusion that I'm hearing. I want to try to help and do my best to put misguided. I don't want to put information out there that's not necessarily true. So I'm looking forward to have communication from Alicia so we can talk about how to navigate next steps with the remaining ARPA dollars. So there will be opportunity there. But I hear you. Whether if this thing passes or not, I'm listening. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Just for the purposes of procedurally, Councilor Rivera has joined us on Zoom, so I would entertain. I need to entertain a motion to take a roll call vote, that for the purposes of this meeting would be applicable to all motions to receive, to refer items to committee, remove items from the table, place items on the table, package items together, comply with items, or suspend the rules unless there is an objection.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Okay, so the motion that was on the floor was amended by Counselor Bartley to add the RNIP program.
Yep.
For the NIP program. We'll do another roll call vote.
You don't know, just voice
Oh, just voice?
on this one. Yeah, I don't think anybody's calling for a roll call on that, so
Okay.
just need a voice vote for that.
Well, we just did a roll call, but whatever. We got, no, I guess. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Are those opposed?
Me.
Okay. Counselor Vacan?
So I wanted to offer a further amendment.
Okay.
And the amendment I wanted to offer was that we amend after please and before use, add in a portion of, and then after tax relief, do a and/or. I mean, we are not objecting to the mayor's authority in this regard,
I'll second the amendment.
and we're just asking for his consideration, and I think that clarifies, that language clarifies that, hopefully.
Okay, so the proposed amendment would add after and?
So it would read, ordered that the mayor please use a portion of the remaining 2 million in ARPA funds for tax relief and/or city-sponsored capital projects.
Okay, so there was a second under discussion. Counselor Jordan?
Yes, in the spirit of what, it almost escaped me for a moment, but in the spirit of what Counselor Sullivan had said about CDBG, it just refreshed my memory. Actually, federal statute requires the local legislative body to make a recommendation on the spending of ARPA funds.
Not for,
So it's supposed to go to the local, there was a CDC group, and we have voted recommendations for the spending of ARPA.
So if
He has
you,
the
if,
final decision.
Counselor, if you would like to ask the law department to weigh in on that, then we can, but I was very involved as the chair of DGR, and it was not required. There was no statute that required that. That was done out of courtesy, but that was not required. And if you want to challenge that, you totally can. But if you want to refer something, or
No,
if you
it's
want
not
the law
that
department
important,
to
'cause
weigh in,
It's not that important, Madam President. I'll only say then I'll revise it, because I haven't looked at the statute myself. It's not that important. Then it was explained to us, and it should be noted, for every dollar of the entire $39 million this city has received, we were involved in the recommendation before any of those monies were actually placed.
noted.
And so for us to weigh in on the final 2 million of the 39 million, we all weighed in when this was originally appropriated. So
Okay.
I think that's important to know.
Thank you. So on Counselor Vacan's motion, to amend to allow, to add and/or city-sponsored capital projects? A portion of, sorry, for city-sponsored capital projects. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed?
And I'll make a motion to approve this as amended.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve as amended. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
How about a roll call vote on that? So we
I
have,
think the ayes-
Whatever you guys want.
I think the
Roll
ayes
call.
have
I'm here to
They
serve.
pretty much have it.
it. The ayes have it. I
Just
think so.
I'm here to serve. I'm just a figurehead.
I think the ayes.
We'll have the clerk do a roll call vote.
Devine,
Yes.
Givner,
No.
Greenie,
He's
He's out of the
out of the room momentarily.
Jordan,
yes,
McGrath Smith,
No.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Yes.
Ocasio,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
No.
Jenny Rivera,
No.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Bartley.
Yes.
Counselor Graney just walked into the room. Howie, we just voted on the,
In your mic.
Yes.
Yes. 8 yeas, 4 nays.
Great, with that, it's passed.
Madam
Long
President.
discussion, we're
where are we?
finally, we haven't even started the actual agenda.
Okay.
So, item 1 was keep it on the table as far as I know. Counselor Jordan.
I would
okay.
like to make a motion to suspend the rules. We were asked there was a number of items relative to the police chief transfers, and I know we have a couple of our civil servants here, I think, who are waiting for this discussion. I think the law department as well as personnel to assist us if relative to, I don't know if the mayor is still here, but there was a number of items that we needed to do some transfers for to assist with the police chief.
55 is one of
I
them.
think it's item 55 is one for sure. I don't know if there was any others.
Counselor
I
Devine, do you
might,
have-
as chair of the finance committee, I'd make a motion that we take this up tonight and pass it tonight in order to get our new police chief on board.
is it can you confirm, is it just item 55?
As far as I know, it's, that's all I have is 55. I don't know if there's more.
If there's other items than 55, I would ask one of our esteemed employees to let us know.
Well, I'll second Councilor Devine's motion to take it off the table.
Okay, so motion's been made and seconded to suspend the rules and take item 55 up out of order. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. So item 55 is filed by Counselor Devine. Order that there be a transfer in fiscal year 2025 of $42,500 from emergency 911 dispatchers to chief of police and incentive. So Counselor Devine.
Make a motion to pass the first reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to pass the first reading. Under discussion?
Just, if anybody has not had a chance to see the chief's interview on Holyoke Media, they should take a look. It's absolutely fantastic.
I have Counselor Bartley and then Counselor Jordan.
And I'll echo that, except there's 3 of us, councilors at least, that were here to memory for the actual interview, and I'm grateful that I was here, and grateful that we heard what the chief said. We have to give credit to the mayor for making what I think is an outstanding selection, and I'm hopeful that that'll bear fruit. I mean, we always hear the rhetoric from members of the public relative to police department, but I think it's important that we recognize that we have a potential for a really game changer of a chief right here, and the mayor, in his sole authority, has negotiated a contract with the potential candidate, and this contract seems to be a fair one, at least from what I've come to understand. I haven't seen the actual document, so I'm looking forward to that. But at least in terms of the salary, it seems at least reasonable. And I think we're gonna get a lot for our money. And I look forward to having the chief come to City Council and talk to us more about what his vision for the department. So consequently, I support this. Thanks.
Thank you. I have Counselor Jordan and then Counselor Rivera.
Yeah, Madam President, I just wanted to say I'm really excited about Mr. Keenan becoming our new police chief. I'm really thankful to the mayor and to those who, participated in the process and led this process. The interview panel, the people who had screened the candidates, our personnel director, they did a really, really good job. And the evidence of that is this excellent candidate. To get someone of his pedigree and background and vision and, view for law and order and reform and a lot of the great initiatives. I've had a really nice opportunity to spend a couple hours with him talking, and I'm really excited about the potential for him to lead this department. Critically important position for the city and the citizens. Really wish Brian the best of luck, and this is great for Holyoke, and just huge ceiling of potential here. So very excited to adopt this tonight, and I believe he's slated to start around the 6th or 7th of January. So this is going to be great for Holyoke. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. I have Counselor Rivera and then Counselor Greenie.
I just had a question around the fact that it says incentive for the $37,000. I must have missed something. I don't know what that means. If someone can clarify that, please.
Quinn bill.
Would you like?
Oh, yeah. Councilor Rivera, I believe that's the money from the Quinn bill incentive that's being moved into that. If I believe that's correct, that is the.
Okay. Aside from that, yeah, Mr. Keenan, I met with him a couple times. Cool dude. It looks like we're gonna have someone that is working towards some of the goals that we outlined in the study that we did around internal practices and structures. And I look forward to seeing what comes out of that and seeing how he's gonna continue the processes to kind of right the ship. Not to say that the police aren't doing their job, because they are within the community, but there are a lot of nuances that are going on within the department that are costing us a significant amount of money. So good luck to him, and appreciate him stepping forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Greenie.
Great choice. Let's move the question.
Is there anyone else? Okay. So the motion was to pass the first reading. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion to pass second reading?
Motion's been made and seconded to pass the second reading. The clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you are voting in favor of the transfer request.
Devine,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Graney,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
McGrath Smith,
Yes.
Murphy Rumboletti,
Yes.
Ocasio. Yes. Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Bartley.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Okay, with that, you've passed it. Should we go back to the beginning?
Yes.
Yeah, the beginning's a good place to start.
Move item 1 off the table. No, item 2, excuse me, off the table, please.
Okay. I was like, man, I didn't have that on my bingo card. Let me just grab my. All right. Item 2 is a letter from the mayor reappointing Rosanna Lopez to serve as a commissioner on the planning board.
Suspend necessary rules and grant the reappointment?
Is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded to suspend the rules and vote to reappoint this evening. Is there discussion? Counselor Greenie.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Counselor Bartley.
Yeah, and I don't want to do a roll call. I'm just going to vote no on this appointment. I just want to make it clear that I'm going to do that. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so the motion's been made and seconded to reappoint. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay. Item 3 is from the mayor, the letter regarding the tax shift vote.
Motion
Be received?
Motion's been made to receive. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 4 is the minutes from the December 3rd meeting.
Receive
Be
and adopt.
received and adopt?
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Counselor 5 is filed by Counselor Bartley. It's from Counselor Bartley, open meeting law complaint.
Yeah, it's just receive and refer to the law department.
Receive and refer to law department. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 6 is from Counselor Jordan, article regarding Holyoke Historic Bank.
Be received?
Finance.
Yeah, receive with a copy to finance and just briefly under discussion.
Sure, motion's been made and seconded to receive and send to finance under discussion. Counselor Jordan.
Yeah, nothing particularly, just even a copy to finance, just to be aware. About 6 months ago, this council had tabled the item. This had come in, a proposal from the mayor to purchase this building to put the new school department headquarters at. At that time, the proposal was $850,000 to buy it. And I guess the city wants to go in a different direction, but I did want to just point out that this is why we do have a checks, balances, due diligence. Finance did a lot of work relative to this. And at the time when it first came in, we were doing a comparison between Metcalf School, 57 Suffolk Street, and this building. And part of that due diligence process, we had a presentation, we were getting records, we were setting up tours. I just want to have it appreciate why we do all that type of legwork and due diligence, because appraisal came in at $625,000 to purchase this building. The city proposed to pay $850,000 for this building. Now, as you can read from this communication, nobody wants to buy the building. And they even are willing to give it away for $150,000, and no one is even willing to bid $150,000 for the building. So this is why Holyoke City Council does its due diligence here. And, that we scrambled out of what I think obviously clearly would have been overpriced. And if you read the story, you find out why they're doing a fire sale of all their buildings. That's kind of an interesting footnote here. There are apparently some significant funds owed to the state of Massachusetts. So anyways, this is where government works well here at Holyoke City Council. And kudos to the Finance Committee for doing its due diligence, and obviously that was sent back to the auditor. So I did want to just close the loop on that topic.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, I'm to echo that. Just so we're clear, there were a lot of us, even non-finance committee members, who oppose that with a lot of strength too. But I'm grateful this was brought forward. It's not going to change hearts and minds, but that would have been, I think it would have been a boondoggle, Madam President, if we had spent $850,000 on a building that now is worth but a fraction of that at best. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Item 7 is a communication from Assistant Solicitor Jane Mantaleski about 41 Temple Street special permit.
You received?
Motion to receive.
Well, I'm just going to make a friendly amendment that we receive it and we refer it to the ordinance committee.
I think it was DGR.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for that, Madam.
It's already been in DGR, and we approved it.
Right. Okay.
So there's nothing in front of us now.
Right, just received.
Okay.
Motion to receive. All those in favor?
Just under discussion.
Oh, sure. If you want to have a discussion, we can send it to DGR.
Yeah, I do only because sometimes we take votes rather quickly, and it might be it probably for me.
Do you want to take it perhaps with it's similar to item 30 tonight?
Oh, sure. You want to take it together?
So I mean, if you want to do it together, if you want, I don't know.
Oh.
Well,
That's right.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah. If the DGR chair is ready, I don't like to put them.
We can table this and take it up.
Oh, okay.
When
all right, thank you.
The DGR chair's giving her report. Does that sound good?
Appreciate that.
Okay. All those in favor to table?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Item number 8.
Madam President?
Yes.
Can we suspend rules and take up item 8 and item 19 as a package, please? It's an ordinance. It's an ordinance recommendation.
Sure. Motion has been made and seconded to suspend the rules and take up item 8 and 19 as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so item 8 was filed by Attorney Degnan. It's the language to vote for item 19, which is the Committee on Ordinance to whom was referred an order that the consideration be made to adopt the changes available under the HERO Act for veteran property tax exemptions, whether to adopt Clause 1 or Clause I or Clause J, or both clauses simultaneously. Recommended that Clause J be adopted at 100% exemption. Councilor Bacon, do you want to discuss? You were chairing that
Sure.
meeting, right?
Yes. Councilor Rivera had a conflict, so
Thank you.
I did chair that meeting on his behalf. So item 8 is the legal language to accept MGL 59, Section 5. And the 22J is the particular clause that the committee recommended unanimously for the council to adopt. This gives different categories of veterans different degrees of a break on their tax, on their property tax. Nothing exceeds certainly 100% of the property tax, and some people range in the level of disability, and there are 4 different classifications, I believe, if I'm stating that correctly. And so the committee felt that, and with feedback from our assessor, Deb Brunel, who came in, who we appreciate, that the easiest way to administer was to do this recommendation. We did discuss following the Inflation Act, but that becomes a more complicated housekeeping matter and compliance matter. So ultimately, after discussion and consideration, the committee voted unanimously to adopt item 19, the Clause J at 100% exemption.
Any other discussion? Okay, so would that be,
Madam President?
yes, I'm sorry, Councilor Bartley?
That's okay. Did you,
I was just going to say the motion would be to adopt
and I'll second.
the law and that clause,
Okay.
22J.
Okay.
Just on discussion?
Under discussion, Councilor
Great-
Bartley.
Great order by Councilor Bacon. Very, very helpful chart put together by the assessor. It was an excellent discussion, and though we didn't have a full committee comment at the hearing, we went over it at the meeting before, and there was pretty well support by all the members of the committee, but we tabled it for more information, and we got more information, and it was incredibly helpful. And so it just seems like this is a real winner. I'm glad Linda brought this forward, and I think this is going to just be another feather in the Veterans Department caps. One small thing, Madam President, and because we do know that a lot of the monies are reimbursed to the city, but as we heard from Ms. Burnell, the amount of money has remained stagnant for a number of years. And perhaps when Mr. Vilas comes in, who's on the head of the Veteran Services Committee in Boston, and then, of course, our state rep, Patricia Duffy, maybe we could ask them some questions about, see if we can have the reimbursement rates increased. So I just thought I'd mention that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, so would that be the motion to pass the first reading?
So my understanding is the motion is to receive and adopt the committee report.
Okay.
And accept the 22J of the HEROES Act.
Which is seconded.
Okay. Would that be a roll call vote? Feels like
Yes.
it. Okay, that's good. The clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting to adopt Clause J.
Devine,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Graney,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
McGrath Smith,
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Yes.
Ocasio,
Yes.
Israel Rivera, Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
okay. Bacon,
Yes.
Bartley,
Yes.
unanimous vote.
Thank you. With that, you've
Thank you, and thanks to
adopted.
our veterans.
Thank
And
you.
Madam President, can we
Yes.
take, suspend rules and take 9 through 13 together as a package? And
I would love
motion be
that.
to receive.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded to suspend the rules and take items 9 through 13 as a package and receive.
Could we do one to break out 9 though, because 9 goes with 36?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
We'll
resend my
come
vote.
back to that?
Yeah, I'll resend it. Yeah.
Okay. So item 9 is, did you want to take that with which one?
Item number 36, please.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to suspend the rules and take items 9 and 36 together as a package. 9 is a communication from Aaron Linville, the recommendations on the new middle school name, mascot, and colors. And 36 is filed by Councilor Jordan. This is the order that pursuant to Chapter 12 of our ordinances, that the City Council accept the recommendation of the school department and give its final approval, excuse me, of the naming of the new middle school located in Elmwood as the Dr. William R. Peck Middle School. Councilor Jordan.
Yeah, just briefly, I just wanted to thank everybody at the Hoyle Public Schools, the school committee, the building committee, colleagues here, who have been very warm and supportive to the naming of the William R. Peck Middle School for the new middle school, essentially keeping the name that has been historically at the middle school. So there was a long process that went out there. There was a survey, I think 1900 stakeholders, be it from the community, the schools, and otherwise, and Dr. Peck's name was definitely the preferred option. This was also the recommendation from the school committee as well. And I think the mayor was very eloquent as well in this process too, to say it gave us an opportunity to remind ourselves about who Dr. William Peck was, why the city named this for him originally in 1973, and why this visionary leader, this education leader for 43 years in the city of Holyoke, this World War I veteran who did so much for the city of Holyoke, had the original naming and is now having this naming. So very exciting, and the school's coming out beautifully, and we're very excited about that. So definitely would make a motion to receive and adopt items 9 and 36.
Second.
Thank you. Under discussion, I see Councilor Rivera's hand.
If I could find the unmute button, I'm sorry. So, I'm cool with the recommendation and all. I just kind of wanted to clarify, when I looked at the data of the surveys they put out, I think the name was only chosen in favor, and just by a couple points, by all respondents, compared to Holyoke Middle School as a name, where that one is chosen in favor by HPS staff, HPS parents, and the HPS student body. So I kind of found it interesting that even though the staff, the student body, and the parents selected Holyoke Middle School as the name, they still went with the choice of all respondents. So I'm kind of interested to find out what all respondent means. Like, that means anybody from California, anybody from anywhere that can fill out the survey. But yeah, it's great that we continue celebrating Mr. Peck, and that we continue carrying down that tradition. I just wanted to point out that, like, the data doesn't really say, with regards to the student body, parents, and staff, that they selected that as a particular name. That's more only on the all respondent, and that was just by a couple points, to be honest. But yeah, thank you. Wanted to point that out.
Thank you. Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, I just want to thank Kevin for his leadership, but you've also got a whole lot of, Madam President, you can't do this without volunteers, right? It's impossible. So there's a pretty large working group here. I really appreciate the memo of Ms. that is put together, that's presented by Ms. Linville and the rest of the staff on this. It's very helpful, and I think it was a democratic process. I think it passed. So, I mean, I'm not really sure where the curveball is at this point, but it looks like it was fairly done by everybody, and it keeps the tradition. One last thing to point out, I believe that Dr. Peck's surviving relation, he was here a few weeks ago, and he's here again tonight, but I think he bailed at some point. So I just want to recognize his presence here to support the legacy of his family member, Dr. William Peck. One last thing, I don't believe he was a World War I veteran. I'm pretty positive World War II veteran, but that's.
Thank you.
That's just clear.
Counselor Graney.
Let's move the question.
World War One.
Let's move the question.
All right. I'm doing the best I can without stifling debate, but I am going to remind y'all that we have about an hour until the 10 o'clock time, so let's keep it moving. The motion was to accept the recommendation of the school department and give final approval of the naming of the new middle school as Dr. William R. Peck Middle School. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. so
Madam
that
President, 10, 11, and 12 be received.
Motion has been made and seconded to suspend the rules and take items 10, 11, and 12 together as a package and receive.
And 13.
And 13.
Not minutes.
Okay. 10 is the Historic Commission meeting minutes. 11, 12, and 13 are minutes from the Redevelopment Authority. Motion is to receive. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. We'll move on to petitions.
A motion to take, suspend rules and take up 14, 15, and 16 as a package. They're all renewals.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to suspend the rules and take items 14, 15, and 16 together as a package. They are all renewals of petitions. One is for home occupation for a nail salon on Homestead Avenue. 15 is the renewal of a junk dealer license on Appleton Street. And 16 is the petition of pawnbroker license at 448 Appleton. And looking at all of the documents, they've all been approved and signed off. So all those in favor.
Motion
Aye.
to approve the renewals.
Motion is to approve the renewals
Since all taxes and fees are paid.
since all taxes and fees are paid. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With that, you've passed them. 17. Okay, 17 is a petition of Benjamin Hildebrand of 199 Service Star Industrial Way, Suite 2, for a restaurant and retail store reconstruction in the limited business district.
I want to say it goes to, well,
Come to us.
I was going to say it goes to DGR usually, but maybe it goes to ordinance. I don't know.
Never seen anything like it. Can we?
It's the Schermerhorns building.
It's a special permit for the Schermerhorns building.
Oh, DGR, please.
DGR.
Yep, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks
all those
for,
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Brenna.
Okay, so that was petitions. Quick updates from the president. From the Tessa, she says that there's a few dates I just want folks to be mindful of. The City Hall Christmas party is this Friday, December 20th at Pix. The city will host an observance of Kwanzaa on Saturday, December 28th at 10 a.m. here at City Hall. You're all invited. City Hall is hosting the Hanukkah observance December 26th at 5:30 p.m. at City Hall. And if you are going to the Mass Municipal Association conference next month, please respond to Jeffrey's email looking for information from you so you can complete your registration, or if you've already registered, let him know. You will need to use the link in the email that he sent to book your stay. And if anyone has questions, please reach out to Jeffrey directly. Anything else? Okay, great. We're going to head into reports of committees. And before we do that, I just want to remind everyone, we've got an hour and 7 minutes until 10. So if we can finish this sooner rather than later, if things have already been discussed in committee, we don't necessarily need to rehash everything out here on the floor. So But the first item is 18, and that's actually something I'm going to need to recuse myself from. It's a special permit extension for cannabis operation, and because of work conflicts, I still need to recuse myself.
I'll make a motion that Kevin serve as the temporary acting president whilst you're
Second.
recused.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Of course. We know what we're talking about, Jeff, right? Okay, we have a recommendation from the Committee on Ordinance, to whom is referred an order that a special permit extension application of 876 Grow Inc. at 360 Ray Street, that's parcel ID 028-06-018A, to build and operate a marijuana cultivation and processing establishment. Recommend that a one-year extension be granted. It was approved by the recommendation of Councilors Vacan, McGrath, Smith, Bartley, and Councilor Rivera from Ward 1. I'll recognize the Ordinance Committee Chair, Israel Rivera. Do you?
I chaired it.
Oh, you chaired it? I apologize.
Right.
Councilor Vacan.
Thank you. So we met and reviewed the request. The main issue there was one of money and materials to finish the project within the time frame of the initial special permit. So they were seeking extra time. They anticipate that in a couple of months they should be able to complete it, but committee felt to sort of keep the timeline clean, as for lack of any other reason, to extend it for 1 year so that it would just run year to year. And so that is the maximum, I believe, that the extension can be on the special permit. And so that was a unanimous vote of the committee. And so the motion would be to receive and adopt the committee report and grant a 1-year extension.
Second.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? All right. The motion will be on the adoption of the committee report, which is to grant the 1-year extension. There's no hearing, no other discussion. The clerk will call a roll. A yes vote is in favor of granting the 1-year extension.
1 second.
Councilor Rivera?
Yeah, my bad. I don't know if you saw my hand. I think before when you were president, it might have not been Zoom. So.
I apologize. Councilor Israel Rivera, you have the floor.
So thank you. I think the only question I have, because I wasn't present at the meeting, I haven't had time to look at it, and I'm sure there's going to be more people down the road. Did they come with like a plan as to how they're going to solve the issues with money and all the other stuff too as well?
So
Councilor Vacan.
Thank you. They stipulated that they had resolved their money issues and received the materials, and they actually felt that their timeline would be much shorter than the year. The committee used discretion to add to the timeline. They were really looking for 2 to 6 months and thinking they could be done in 2 months. So,
Okay.
yeah, so they indicated a lot of progress, but they just weren't quite there. And so this, I believe, is part of the process that we did when we realized we had given out all these special permits, and then a number of them had expired. So we reached out to all the people that had been given special permits to see if they needed extensions as just a part of keeping everything straight and on a schedule. So I believe this project was one of those.
No, thank you for that. And my question's only so that because if the year goes by and they still need another extension, I
Then
think
they
for
would
us,
be
it's
done. We can't.
we wouldn't be able to give them another one.
No, my understanding is 1 year max, and then they'd have to have done the project to be eligible for a renewal, is my understanding.
Okay, perfect. Then, because to me, it's like I don't want a project to continue to drag out and keep coming to us for special permits every time. But if there's already a safeguard for that, then that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, then the vote will be on the adoption of the committee report. Again, this is to grant a 1-year extension to 876 Grow Inc., located at 360 Ray Street to build and operate a marijuana cultivation and processing establishment. On adoption of the committee report recommendation, yes, Counselor Bacon.
And I would note further that all conditions that were on the initial special permit remain in place.
Yes, with that caveat. The clerk will call the roll. A yes vote is in favor of adopting the committee report. A no vote is to deny it. Clerk will call the roll, please.
Divine?
Out of the room.
Out of the room.
Okay. Givner?
Yes.
Graney?
No.
Jordan?
Yes.
McGrath-Smith?
Yes.
Ocasio?
Yes.
Israel Rivera?
Yes.
Jenny Rivera?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Bacon?
Yes.
Bartley?
Yes.
9 yeas, 1 nay, 1 abstain.
By your vote, you've approved the committee recommendation, and that has been adopted. And we're going to welcome our president back. And I'll leave it right there.
Okay, so item 19 we already did. Item 20 is the Committee on Ordinance, to whom is referred an order that we add clauses 22, 22A, 22B, 22C, 22E, 22F, and 22H of the HEROES Act to expand benefits for veterans. Recommended that the order has been complied with. Counselor Bacon.
Thank you. So the motion is to receive and adopt the committee report that this has been complied with. And the reason it's complied with is the city had already adopted these portions of the act, so they're already in effect. Thank you.
All right. So the motion has been made and seconded to pass the first reading. Is there any
Just that
other?
It's been complied.
Oh,
with.
sorry. Ahead of myself.
It's too easy.
Yes, exactly. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, ordinance. All right, so moving forward, we have public safety updates. Yes, Counselor.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded to take items 21, 22, 25, and, 26? Or 20? What was the last one you said?
28.
21, 22, 25, 26, and 28 as a package. All are complied with. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I will read them briefly. The abridged version, if everyone's cool with that.
So moved.
Okay. 21 is public safety, that Parks and Rec discuss the management and maintenance of parks on school property. 22 is that members of Parks and Rec Commission be invited to discuss plans around Springdale Park. 25 is that the city engineer come to a meeting to discuss making Courser Street one-way traffic. 26 is that the city review and advise to install a do not block the box on Northampton and Longwood. And 28 is that the city engineer research stop sign at the end of Willow and where it meets Brown Ave. All of these orders are recommended that the order has been complied with. Councilor Rivera.
So brief on items 21 and 22, they were taken up as a package at the committee. Orders filed by Councilor Rivera and Councilor Ocasio filed in order to clarify maintenance responsibilities between the Parks and Recreation Department and the School Department for parks on school property, addressing confusion over tasks like grass cutting and equipment repairs. Concerns were raised about litter left after weekend events, aging maintenance equipment, and need for better event management. The city is working to streamline responsibilities, improve communication, and secure funding for park improvements, including renovations like the McMahon School Playground and upgrades at Springdale Park. And Number 25, that was filed by Councilor Anderson Burgos. He already had discussed the matter and was agreed to mark this as complied with. Number 26, filed by Councilor Devine, Councilor Bartley, I believe. And Councilor Devine and myself drove by and has also been complied with. Number 28, this was filed by Councilor Rivera. It was discussed in ordinance and it was also complied with.
Okay. Councilor Bartley.
Yeah, excellent meeting. Thank you to the chair and the committee. Two quick things on 25 on Corsair. This is us being nice. So I'm glad we said comply, but the fact is it's going to remain a two-way street. There are basically one residence on that street, but it leads directly to the Holyoke Medical Center. It's used by the PVTA constantly. Holyoke Medical Center vociferously opposed this. So it just needed to die a death, and I hope it'll just be permanently in a coma. On 26, very grateful to DPW, see how nice I am? For it is already paying massive dividends. This was brought to me by a Ward 3 resident, by the way, an illegal alien, and that's okay, but who really observed things, been in this country for 40 years without status, whatever, but brought this to my attention, and more than once, and look, we got it done, and it's a home run. I can't tell you how great it is, and I know it's a nothing burger for anybody who's here listening, but the people in that area really appreciate it. So, hallelujah.
Anyone else? Okay. So on the motion that all of these are complied with, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Then we're gonna go back to item 23. The Committee on Public Safety, that the city install a raised crosswalk or other appropriate alternative on Nick Cosmos Way in front of the Boys and Girls Club. Recommended that the order be referred to the Ordinance Committee and copied to the Law Department. Councilor Rivera.
So this was an order filed by Madam President and myself on the safety of the pedestrians. However, since the ordinance requires signatures from nearby residents, of which there are none, the proposal will be sent to the Ordinance Committee and Law Department to explore amending ordinance, potentially allowing exemptions for nonprofits or areas without residential density. This will address safety concerns while accounting for future developments in the area, such as new residential units being constructed nearby on Cabot Street.
So I'll second that.
Thank you.
Just refer to ordinance, right?
Okay.
And Law Department.
Law Department, yep.
Yeah.
So the motion was to refer to ordinance in the Law Department. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Madam President, also motion to suspend the rules and take items 24 and 27 as a package.
Second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to take items 24 and 27 as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 24 is that the Signals Division of the Fire Department implement a light delay at Hamden and Linden Streets. And the 27 was that we invite the DPW and Parks and Rec to meet with public safety around addressing graffiti at the skate park near Pulaski Park. Both were recommended that the order be given leave to withdraw. Councilor Rivera.
Item 24 was filed by Councilor Gifner. She wasn't able to attend the meeting, but she did speak with Councilor Devine, and she said to give it leave to withdraw.
Is there anything anyone wants to add? Councilor Gifner?
Thank you, Madam President, and to the chair, thank you. The reason I was recommending to give this leave to withdraw is that Councilor Devine mentioned that if we wanted to check the signals, we should go through a different route. And I also feel like there's so much work going on in the city that a lot of these things are being slowly addressed, so we can take it up a different way.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, recommended that the orders be given leave to withdraw. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Counselor Bartley?
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to make a motion to suspend our rules and take from public safety agenda items 70, take it out of committee, please.
Second.
Okay, public safety item 70 from the jacket. Do you have the,
I can read it.
yeah, because I
Yeah.
don't, yeah.
Okay, item 70, 6/20/23, ordered the DPW install signage proximate to 33 Edward Drive, alerting motorists of an autistic person in the area.
Okay, so the motion has been made and seconded to take this item from the jacket in order to take action this evening. We need a supermajority to do that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, Counselor Bartley.
And then on the motion, the motion would be to receive, adopt, and refer to the Department of Public Works.
Second.
Under discussion, so quickly, the signs are ready to roll. I thought they were installed. They weren't. So the constituent is just ultra concerned now. So just want to get this done and get it installed.
Great. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor to refer to DPW? Sorry, that's not a roll call vote, so go ahead. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
So moved. Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
And thank you, Public Safety. We're on to Development and Government Relations. Item 29 is the Committee on DGR, to whom was referred an order for the petition of Francisco Martir, food vendor license application for 415 Main Street. Recommended that the petition be denied. Counselor Givner.
Thank you, Madam President. So in the meeting, in DGR, this item has been tabled twice. Neither time did Mr. Martir come before us, and it was mentioned that he has been operating without a license, so we decided to deny it and, or recommend the denial.
Okay. Anyone else? Counselor Ocasio. Can you just speak? Yep, thank you.
Okay, Francisco been operating there with no license at all as of today. Like, since before we denied it and after we denied it, he's still operating because he was open this whole weekend. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
Counselor Bartley.
I'll make a motion that we, after we pass this, or after we vote on it, I'm sorry, that we refer this to the A, the Board of Health, and B, to the Police Department.
Second.
Okay, so we'll do the vote first. Well, we can do both at the same time, I guess.
Can it be amended
Motion
to
to
add that? Yeah.
That's a friendly amendment.
Yeah, okay, so the motion is to deny and refer to the Board of Health and the Police Department. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Item 30 is filed by, hold on. Item 30 is the DGR Committee, a special permit application of Daniel LaFlamme, Daniel's Truck Center, to operate a light truck repairing and detail center at 41 Temple Street. Recommended that the petition be granted with the following conditions: that the hours of operation will be Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., that the lighting cannot be detrimental to the neighborhood, and 3, that the petitioner will address all open questions on the Planning Department letter dated December 10th, 2024.
And Madam
And
Chair,
did you
can
want to take 7?
Yes,
Item
a
7.
motion to remove it from the table.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to remove item 7 from the table and take as a package with 30. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Counselor Givner.
Thank you, Madam President. So, Mr. LaFlamme has been in front of DGR a couple times now, too. He has a business that's been basically grandfathered into the neighborhood. there was no opposition from his neighbors. He has a good rapport with them. And one of his neighbors called in favor during this last public hearing. We closed the public hearing with a 3-2 vote and then decided to send it to the city council with the conditions you mentioned. My personal main concern was just that our planning department has not received what they consider a complete application for this permit, and there was actually items missing. So we put the conditions on it that basically he has to fill his obligations to the planning department before he could start operating.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Bartley?
Yeah, so just in light of this, which you know, the committee voted 3-2. I think that everybody's in favor of it. Just it's 3-2 only because, you know, this is open question with the planning board. So I'm just at a loss as to what to do here because I don't have the specific planning board letter. I'm sure it's in my pack. I'm sure.
Yeah, the letter was the 1210 letter. We received it that evening, and you should have it in your email too.
Oh, okay. I'm sure Jeff sent it to me,
Yeah.
Madam Chair. I just don't have it handy in front of me. I can't find it at the moment. So, is there? And if I threw a chair to the chair, is there something? Because you see what Ms. Mantaleski writes in here that you need to specify the conditions that were within the 1210 letter that should be added to the permit. That's what she wanted. So, are there specific conditions that the chair recommends?
Councillor Givner?
So I don't have the letter in front of me. I can pull it up. It's like 2.5 pages long, and some of the things in question that I specifically remember were it was unclear how many operating spaces were in the garage bay, the frontage of the property, how many parking spaces it actually allows. There was some question about, you know, just like the layout. His plans were submitted and apparently they weren't to scale and don't actually show the right measurements for the lot. So the planning department has, you know, it's my understanding that you can do certain things with certain properties and that there's still rules around how close you can park to your neighbors or to the sidewalk or things like that. So they weren't provided, and the lighting was one of the questions on that. I mean, it was a pretty lengthy letter and it was very specific. So we can attach the whole letter to this, which is what I imagined would happen.
Councillor Bartley?
Yeah, so that's what Attorney Mantaleski says you shouldn't do is attach the whole letter. So if I may, the whole committee it was a great meeting. It was very well. It was a good discussion. But I think just out of and talking to the petitioner, he was okay to. I mean, he wants it passed, but at the same time, he was okay that it's not a pressure situation.
Sure. Should we table?
In my opinion, now I think we should just table it here in committee, and then the chair can go over this with the law department and to say which specific ones that she recommends, and we can fix it for the first meeting in January and attach it to the permit. That's just I'm not going to make a motion, but that's my 2 cents.
I have Councillor Devine and then Councillor Givner.
One of the reasons that this is on this agenda tonight is because the DGR meeting was closed. The open, the public meeting was closed. I don't know what's happened over the years, but it used to be so easy. The planning board came in, we were here, the planning board went to their office, took a vote, they came over here. I don't know why they're so behind, and I'm not trying to criticize them, but we made this decision based on the fact that there was nobody in opposition, there was somebody in favor. This guy is like on a pedestal in that neighborhood. So I think that that's why we granted the petition, and hopefully one of these days, the planning board will take their vote.
Okay, Councillor Givner, did you have something you wanted to add, or?
No, I just wanted to note that it looks like Jeffrey pulled up the letter, so I mean, we can read it, but I mean, there's a lot of items.
I think I'd rather table. Yeah. This sounds like either table or send it back to committee.
I would be fine sending it back to committee. That way we don't miss it and it doesn't just sit here while we wait.
that your
Okay.
motion?
Counselor Bacon?
Thank you. I just have a question. Is this business currently operating, and has it been operating?
The business is operating. The special permit is to add to the business.
Okay, thank you.
Is to add to this.
So I'll second what I think was a motion to send this one back.
Correct.
And then I'll just make a motion to receive what Councilor Devine suggested earlier, to receive number 7.
Okay, so the motion was to refer back to committee just to get the remaining information and receive item number 7. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Item 31 is the DGR committee, that the procurement office present any contracts relative to Anniversary Hill Scotts Tower project. And it is recommended that the order has been complied with. Counselor Givner.
So,
You want to take 31 and 32 together, Madam Chair?
yeah.
Happy to, sure.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to suspend the rules and take items 31 and 32 as a package. So I just read 31, and 32 is the Anniversary Hill Park Trail and Utility Corridor contract documents. And that's also recommended that the order's been complied with. Counselor Givner?
Okay, so this has also been in DGR for some time. We had with us Edward Sweeney from procurement, Yoni from conservation, Jeff from the Conservation Commission. Councilor McGrath Smith was there. She did a lot of work with the residents, and this was in regards to an action plan around the neighborhood concerns raised at the August on-site meeting about water runoff. Basically, the meeting was really good. The neighbors have come up with like an action plan. They presented it. Their requests were very, reasonable. Attorney Bissonnette was present and reiterated that the neighborhood members could choose to make their own claims against Mass West and GZA for the condition of their ponds. Another suggestion from Jeff Horn was to figure out a way to get funding for the neighborhood to put aeration in the ponds to help clean them up and like stabilize those environments. The neighbors or the residents there were hoping that Yoni or the Conservation Department or someone would contact the DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection. So there was a lot of discussion about who needs to do what in order to get this in order. Luckily, Attorney Bissonnette agreed to take the lead and be able to give a report on how to file a claim if necessary, or if that was a good idea on the, in regards to the breach of contract by West Mass and GZA. And the hope is still that an aeration and or core samples would be taken to improve the pond environment. So we're on the right track there. So this has been tabled one more time to January 13th for hopefully, we're hoping will be like a final report of the next action steps for community members and our conservation department to take. So I'm very hopeful that we'll get some solutions for these issues in that neighborhood. And the residents present seem to be really satisfied with the meeting, and it seems like they are getting some results. So it was a good meeting.
Thank you. Counselor Bartley and then Counselor Greeny.
Yeah, I just want to raise a point of order. Just through the chair to the chair, did you say you tabled this in committee?
Yeah.
Is there another, I was just going to ask that too, like, is there another order that's tabled in committee, or if
is this
these
the
are
order tabled?
tabled, then we shouldn't?
So why are these before us?
Hold on.
Well,
Jeffrey can clear.
So the second one was, that one's tabled in committee, but the other one where we received the contract documents was complied with.
Okay, so 31's in committee, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Committee?
No, hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Let's,
I think my numbers are off because I'm looking at my notes.
okay, let's let Jeffrey weigh in for a second.
So Item 31 was just an order asking for the contracts, so that's why it was the committee recommended complying with it. The other order to actually continue the discussion is still in committee.
Okay.
Thank you.
Counselor Bartley.
That's a point of order again, Madam Chair. So on my agenda, 31, no, 32 are the contracts.
31 and 32.
31
contracts.
31 and 32.
Okay, so
Yeah.
these are just contracts. So
Yeah.
The main order is still in committee.
Correct.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
That's-
So, yeah, okay,
about
then we'll deal with that next time.
Thank you. Counselor Greeny.
Yeah, just quickly, the central question I receive like 30 times a week, just if anybody knows that the property that's right there in front of Anniversary Hill, apparently there seems to be some action there. Does anybody know what's going on?
Action?
What is it? There's,
Development?
yeah, there's somebody looks like they're moving in there. Has anybody-
I don't, it's not on the agenda, so I don't
Okay,
know.
I just wanted to.
Okay.
So I'll just say, I'll second the motion, comply with.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item 33 is that the 133 Pine Street be sold to abutter Pine Suffolk LLC with an address of 175 Suffolk Street for $4,500. This property is valued under $35,000 and therefore exempt from procurement requirements. This property was previously declared surplus. Recommended that the order be adopted. Counselor Givner.
Yeah, so this one was kind of interesting. It seems like the gentleman here had already bid on this property, but for some reason the auction fell through or something was done improperly at the auction. So he was able to finally buy this he's being offered to finally buy this at the $4,500 auction price, which he had previously thought he was paying for it anyway. And it's the neighboring property. He owns a couple other buildings right next to each other. So this one's kind of was dividing up the properties he owns. So I see how it can make a lot of sense that he wants to have that space. And it looks like he's been working on trying to get this for well over 10 years. I think he said 12 years. So yeah, we recommended this for approval.
Thank you. Counselor Bartley.
Yeah, so that was a good summary. This is CMS Landscaping. They've been on the lot for a while, just kind of squatting. The auction fell through, doesn't matter why. The price that they were offering at auction was $4,500, and the price that they're offering now is the exact same price. So it seems to me that that's fair, and this is an established Holyoke business, and they will put it back on the tax rolls.
Absolutely. All right. Anyone else? So this is a property sale, so we're going to do a roll call vote. The clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting to adopt the order and item 33.
Devine,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Graney,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
McGrath Smith,
Yes.
Murphy Rumboletti,
Yes.
Ocasio,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Bartley.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Thank you. With that, you have approved item 33, sold to the abutter. Item 34 is DGR to sell that assessor's parcel 183000006 Old Rock Valley Road be declared surplus and sold to abutter Jessica A. Messier with an address of 22 Old Rock Valley Road for $25,000. The property is valued under $35,000 and is exempt from procurement requirements. The abutter plans to keep this property as open space. Recommended that the order be adopted. Counselor Givner.
Thank you, Madam President. This was also pretty straightforward. Miss Mazier was in the building and spoke about how this property is right behind her property. It's about 4 acres, and she said that it hadn't been being taken care of, but they would like to just add it basically to the yard and take care of it and you know, it'll look better and it'll be better and they can preserve the space there. So I thought this was nice, and like Councilor Bartley said, it puts it on the tax rolls, which is always good.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Bartley?
Yeah, that's a perfect summary. I just want to add to it that the petitioners came in, and it was a real honor to have them here because I'm pretty confident that haven't been in City Hall too many times, so that was nice. And then they did indicate that it's going to be a cash transaction, so the turnaround will be pretty quick after they do their due diligence work. The City of Holyoke took this for a tax title for non-payment of taxes. It doesn't really appear to have any frontage onto a public way, which that impacts development considerably because you gotta have frontage. So without an easement or some kind of a unique way to get access to a road, it'll just be in their back lot and it can't be developed. And I just think I'm grateful that they stepped up, but they saw the need, and so now they're buying 4 acres for 22 grand or whatever the price is, and 25 grand, sorry, and which seems very, very reasonable. I think it's a good deal for the city because who else is going to want this property, and it's a great deal for the residents too, who sounds like they're very sincere about maintaining the lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Bacon?
Thanks. Just quickly, it's a win-win for the city, and it's in the country of Holyoke, and keeping the area in good shape.
Thank you. Anyone else? Great. So it was recommended that the order be adopted. The clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting for the sale of this property on Old Rock Valley Road.
Devine,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Graney,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
McGrath Smith,
Yes.
Murphy Rumboletti,
Yes.
Ocasio,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Bartley.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
Thank you. With that, you've passed that sale. Item 35 is the DGR, that the city council amend the approved Center City liquor license authorization for an expanded area by including the geographical description for the added eligible area. This addition is needed for final submission and approval by the legislature. Recommended that the order be adopted. Councilor Givner.
Thank you, Madam President. So this was something that we basically needed the final wording to submit. After we considered and realized that we had the information on the back of the order, we voted voted unanimously to approve this. I do recall Councilor Bartley working on this, and I'm pretty sure it was him that brought up that we should expand this area. If I remember right, it's expanding it so that it covers that last block of High Street here up to Lyman. So previously, these liquor licenses, the city center liquor license was only to the block, I think, where Brennan's is, and so this would extend it, and there's a few businesses coming in there, and there's a few restaurants already there, so this can only help expand this area and allow for more opportunities.
Anyone else? Okay. So recommended that the order be adopted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Thank you. All right, motions, orders, and resolutions. I'm looking at that time, folks. Let's not talk about it if it's going to committee, okay? Thank you. 37 is filed by Councilor McGrath Smith, that the city council separate the positions of park superintendent and city forester and make necessary changes in ordinance in order to do so.
Be received and sent to ordinance.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, 38 filed by Councilor McGrath Smith, that Human Resources provide the financial cost of providing city email addresses to city councilors and committee, commission, and board chairs who currently do not have one.
Be received and sent to Human Resources.
Sent to personnel.
Personnel.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 39, filed by Councilor Ocasio, that DPW and the city engineer revisit crossing from Capri Pizza to Key Food. Refer to DPW, Carmen?
And city engineer?
Is that good? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Well, Madam President.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, okay. Are we going to send it to a committee so they can come back and talk to us about this, or what are we doing here for 39?
What would the maker of the order like?
The reason, the reason why I refiled this order was because they put a stop sign there, but that's not enough.
Do you want it sent to ordinance to have the city engineer come in?
Yes.
Okay. So send to ordinance?
Yeah, motion be to send to ordinance and then copies to the other departments.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 40, filed by Councilor Ocasio, order that a do not block the box be painted in the corner of Sargent and Elm Street.
That's ordinance.
Be received and sent to ordinance?
Receive and send to ordinance. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 41, filed by Councilor Ocasio, order that the city install few signs, no trucks, slow down, children, and no parking anytime on the block across from 320 Elm Street.
Be received and sent to ordinance?
No, I would just say receive,
Public
adopt.
safety.
These are informational, so only, right?
Yes.
If I can make a friendly amendment, I would just say receive and send to public safety so that she can talk it out with the department head and then get it in the right spot.
Receive and send to public safety.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 42, filed by Councilor Ocasio, that the city change the use of the lot at the corner of Adam and South Summer from being a 24-hour parking to residential parking from 5 p.m. to 7 a.m., Morgan school staff parking from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Should we maybe do this with joint committee?
No,
Because isn't the school department using it?
Isn't it a zoning issue?
it's a city-owned property, so that goes to this goes to DGR. It'll go to DGR. That's
Okay.
yeah.
Just making sure.
Yep.
Anyone else? Send to DGR. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item 43, filed by Councilor Ocasio, ordered that the DPW engineer and HG&E come to a city council meeting to explain why there are meters in front of the buildings and homes.
Public safety.
Public safety, I guess.
Public safety?
Okay, public safety. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 44 is filed by Councilor Devine, ordered that all items such as MOAs, contracts, and any other documents that may be on an agenda, any counselor that might be in need of such copies individually request those copies from our administrative assistant.
Be received?
Second.
Motion to receive. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
What is this?
I'm sorry.
Just so I understand, what are we saying, just so I understand?
Under
If
discussion, Councilor Jordan, and then I'll let Councilor Devine respond. Did you have anything else to add?
No, just want to understand the intent of the order, just so, it sounds like we're making some sort of request here, so I just want to understand what the.
Councilor Devine?
Yeah, what's happening is our administrative assistant makes copies for everybody, whether it's 2 pages or 260 pages. And not all of us read them, not all of us want them. So my feeling is, with the permission of the city council, if you want something printed up, ask Jeff for it. But if you don't, it's really a waste of time, paper, and that people just aren't even reading it. Not everybody, but that's all this is. Very simple. If you want something, just ask Jeff for it.
Councilor Bacon?
Does that mean that, such as the packet that was on our desk tonight, we would not receive any of it unless we ask for it?
Right.
Maybe this should be referred to committee.
Fine.
Or either that, or I'll send you an email tomorrow that says Councilor Jordan requests all documents at all meetings.
And to be honest, I thought that maybe it was just the first term that we did that, but there was a point in time where Jeffrey asked everyone for their preferences on if you get late files printed, great. If you don't,
right.
Are we still doing that, Jeffrey? I recognize.
But in fairness to what Councilor Devine is saying, she is making a good point. If there's something that's 200-page document, clearly we need to be, I mean, if it's a 3-page document, like like a good example would be, might be 8 pages or so, the lease at Mackenzie Field, right? Like, that would be cool. I mean, but if it starts to get to be greater than 25, 30 pages, or it's not something that we really need to read, it's like a maybe, I would say maybe kind of use your discretion, and then we could see you,
Yep.
you know? Because yeah, we don't want to just kill trees for no reason. But on the other hand, a lot of this stuff, I actually do read it, and I do appreciate you giving us these packets on my desk. Me personally, just me, Kevin.
How about we all just agree to be mindful of it, and maybe Jeffrey can also use his discretion, but it's very vague right now. So if someone wants to, like, if we need to file an actual rule or something, we can totally do that.
I'm glad you filed this because it does raise a good issue.
It does, and we would actually save money if we didn't spend so much money on paper.
Agreed.
Councilor Bacon?
Yeah, and so far, Jeffrey, you've been reaching out to us if it's a really large document to check, do you really need this?
Yeah.
And I think usually we're reviewing it online rather than killing another tree, so. If it's,
Yes, lots of trees.
If you feel comfortable, if there's documents that are smaller than those, but still sort of in that cubby.
Okay.
And thank you for sending all the PDFs with the agendas, like
Yeah.
by email, super helpful.
Yeah.
And for those of us that do keep an archive of all this stuff, you're saving me a lot of scanning, especially of key documents, you know? It's really helpful what you're doing, so thank you.
Councilor Bartley, did you have anything that you had your hand up?
I think I do have something semi-relevant, hopefully. And I've said this for years. So for my first half of my career on this board, I just told the clerk, just don't mail me any agendas. I don't want them in the mail. I don't want them mailed to me. I don't need the paper. So I would say we suggest we have maybe a little more universal talk with the clerk, because why should she be wasting money mailing stuff that she's printed out, send it to me? I personally don't need it. I get the emails. I'm good to go with the email. And if I forget my agenda, Jeff always leaves a couple.
Okay, so now I'm seeing everyone's got their hands up, and I actually, like, this is turning into, like, maybe this should be referred to committee because it is 9:41. What?
Good point, Madam President.
Well, so.
No. Stop. Councilor Greenie, what?
I like hard copy. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Okay, that's great.
Motion to
I
receive.
don't care what everyone's opinions are. So motion to receive. If you'd like to send it to Charter and Rules, do you want to?
No.
Okay.
No, it's a good order. Receive.
All right. Receive. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Just a discussion.
Item. Do you guys want to take 45, 46, 49, and 50 as a package, perhaps?
Send it to the Finance Committee, except for the, no, I guess that's all.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
So 45 is transfer for $48,826.15 from a lot of different line items. Do you want me to read them all?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, 46 is a transfer request for $7,712, and 49 is a transfer request of $30,000, and 50 is a transfer request. Nope, it's a grant acceptance request for a $35,099 grant. The Edward Burton Memorial Justice Assistant Grant Program, sent to Finance.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. And then we have 47 and 40.
Can we
And
take
48
as a package?
47 and 48 as a package. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So 47 is order that there be a transfer of $6,806.64 from captain and lieutenants to injured on duty, and I believe
There are two.
So that is for 2 firefighters, correct?
Yes.
And then 48 is a transfer of $26,920.11 from lieutenants, sergeants, and patrolmen to injured on duty, and that's for 12. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
So motion that we pass those.
Motion to suspend the rules and
Pass the first reading.
pass the first reading. Does anyone, Councilor Devine, do you have anything to add? Any other
Pretty
questions?
self-explanatory.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Pass the second reading.
Motion to pass the second reading. The clerk will call the roll. If you vote yes, you're voting in favor of approving these 2 transfers.
Devine,
Yes.
Givner,
Yes.
Graney,
Yes.
Jordan,
Yes.
McGrath Smith,
Yes.
Murphy Ramboletti,
Yes.
Ocasio,
Yes.
Israel Rivera,
Yes.
Jenny Rivera,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Bacon,
Yes.
Bartley.
Yes.
Unanimous vote.
With that, you've approved it. I think that's it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, Madam President.
Have a good night.
Thank you all. Merry Christmas.
Merry
See you
Christmas.
next
Yeah,
year.
Happy New Year.